What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of 11 Hip Hop Miami. This is Season 6, Episode 6, and let's get right into this review. So, this episode is actually titled, Take the Cake. And let's jump into this first scene because we have Amar and She is popping up at Flo's restaurant, I believe. Yes, her restaurant. And she looking for Marlon. I said, oh, you real bold for this. Now, first things first, Amara, what is that wig on the top of your head? Like, dead ass, what is that? It looks a mess, number one. Number two, how many times did y'all have to refilm this scene? Because I'm trying to figure out why Flo Mama is sitting there skinning and grinning in your face. Like, it was giving weird. Like, I don't know if y'all had to do a couple of retakes and reshoots and she didn't know what to do. Like, why was she up there grinning like that? So, Amara basically come in and is like, oh, well, I brought something for Marlon. Where he at? And actually, you can have some of this too. And I'm going to assume she probably bought some type of, dessert for them to eat. Now, as Amara is about to walk through the establishment to go find Marlon, she tell the mama, Flo's mom, oh yeah, you can start setting up the plates and stuff, as if she was like her servant or something. I'm just like, Amara, what are you doing? So basically, she ends up finding Marlon so that way they can have this conversation. Now, before I actually go into what they talked about, Marlon, you really be working real hard. I can't even knock you because you a handyman, you cook, you clean, you take care of the kids. Like, you just a one-stop shop. You wouldn't be too bad if you weren't a cheater. Now, speaking of him cheating, basically, this whole conversation was about how Marlon, he cannot seem to get it right with Flo. Flo is not forgiving him. Flo is definitely using him, though, because she uses him to do all the housework and all the things, but she does not want to be with him because he has cheated on her their entire relationship, okay? And he just can't seem to stop cheating. So, again, he's finally realizing that he's about to get a divorce, and Amara's like, you gotta keep trying, and I'm just like, at this point, I don't think he needs to try anymore. I think he needs to let it go, okay? Now, Amara brings up the fact that he's a great father, and of course, what does Amara do? Bring it back to her, because one thing about Amara, she is self-centered. So she's like, because you're a great dad, and my girls, they don't have that type of relationship with their dad, and I didn't even have a relationship with my dad. I'm just like, Amara, this ain't about you, boo. It's really not. Now, as far as your own children, Amara, I need you to be for real. You live in Miami. You were dating a man who lived in the DR. Okay? You knew that he lived there, and yes, he may come to Miami once in a while, but that man is not about to be a consistent figure in your kid's life. He's not. Sorry to tell you. Also, I feel like we have watched you and Allan get into it. Both of y'all play a part in, the demise of why these girls don't have the other parent in their life. Now, I will say, I do commend her on realizing that both of them, they are very prideful, her and Allan. And I do think that she needs to try to make it work. So that way, number one, they can be cordial, but also so the girls can have a relationship with their dad. Now, we don't know if it's going to work out in the future or if it may work out now, but we're just hoping for the best over here. All right, so next thing you know, we see Angela and Derek. They are talking, and he wants her to get in the booth. He actually wants to produce a full project for her. However, Angela is like, listen, the music that I made before is Black China. That's not the type of music that I want to make. I want to make music that can be played amongst all different generations, from our parents, our grandparents, to the young kids. She doesn't want to probably have all that cursing and ratchetry in her music anymore. She's grown as a person. However, it seems like he has a total different idea for what her sound should be. So we shall see what happens with this Angela White project. moving on from that, we see Zoe. She's filming a music video. And here comes tacky ass Estelita. Okay? Now, Estelita, she's telling her about how she met up with Kiki. And for me, Estelita was kind of putting 20 on 10 when she was describing the situation and what Kiki had to say. But Zoe, it's still giving that you have a side person. Okay? Because once you said, and even if I did have somebody on the side, it's giving that you do have somebody on the side, okay? Now here's my thing. Was it the time or the place for Kiki to do all of this? No. She did not have to bust her friend out on national TV, about this whole maybe you have a girlfriend or whatever situation. But also at the same time, it's like, well, Zoe, it sounds like you're not being real with yourself. Like, I think your homegirl was just trying to be like, girl, you should have an honest conversation with yourself. Now, Zoe, you feel like, the people around you are kind of playing in your face. And ma'am, I agree. Because your sister absolutely played in your face. And yes, Kiki may have wanted some camera time, but I don't exactly think that she's like a clout chaser the way you're making it seem. So, next thing you know, Zoe is in her car. She is talking about how Kiki is this clout chaser and how Zoe is the first person to really give Kiki her first big break as a backup dancer. And I'm just like, well, that's not too big of a break, but I'm gonna let you rock. So this is where things got real weird for me, y'all. Zoe is like, I'm about to go live. So she hops on her live. She's talking crap into the phone and then waiting outside of Kiki's house for Kiki to come outside. I said, girl, is she even at home? It didn't look like not a one light was on at that house. So, what are you doing out here? Like, make that make sense. Zoe, do better. Moving on from that, Trick Daddy is out here jogging. He's trying to get back in shape. He's trying to do better for his life. Good to see that Trick. He's with his girl, So Unique. And after they hit their little jog around the gym, she's like, oh, I got something healthy for you to eat, right? So he got two options. You have, it looks like an acai bowl, and he had a option of like it could have been like a salad or like a kava bowl or something like that, right? Now, this man, he spits out the fruit, which kind of surprised me because usually people, they will eat fruit and not vegetables. But he over there talking about oh no, I can't eat this. I can't eat those chickpeas, all this stuff. I'm just like, Trick, you've got to do better. Okay? Like, you can't just eat fried pork chops all the time. I promise you, it won't be good for you. So, she's like, oh, I just want our relationship to go well. And I think she asked him, like, oh, what makes you happy or something like that. And he could not give her an answer. He's like, oh, you got to do your research on that. She has to do her research? Sir, she actually, a question that was, I think, should have came from the horse's mouth of the answer. Like, what are you talking about? Now, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and leave Trick Daddy right over there with So Unique. We got to move on to this ridiculous scene with Guel and Allan. Because at some point, Guel has hooked up with Allan in the past. Ew. And now they're meeting up because he's in Miami to handle business as well as see Amara. But before he do that, before he get the stuff situated with his children, he would rather meet up with Guel. That's crazy. So he's basically questioning Guel, who is not friends with Amara, about Amara and like what's going on with her safari. And Guel is like, yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. Like, I don't think that they're getting married or whatever. But she trying to see what's up with Allan, and he like, no, I'm not even on that type of time because I'm trying to actually fix things with Amara. Because I guess when they were in the DR, he said some really foul things. They ran some clips back, and I'm like, yeah, sir, you need to apologize because you was wilding. Now, I don't know what Amara was saying back to you, but still, it sounds like you went a little too far. So he's trying to go ahead and fix things on that end because he does want to be able to spend time with his kids. He hasn't seen them since the time they came to the DR. And Guel is like, well, listen, you just got to play the game so that you can, get her to allow you to see your kids. Now, that's all cool and everything, but what's up with me and you? And I'm just like, Guel, please go sit down somewhere. Because, Gael is pouring it on thick. She's talking about because, I like men, I like women. We could go ahead and have a threesome. Like, let's just go ahead and get it popping. And he's like, nah, I got to handle this business with Amara first. And I'm just like, sir, is it that you want to get back with Amara? What's happening there? And then we have Gael. She's so thirsty. She's like, well, you handle that stuff with your baby mama, and I'm going to be waiting right here. Gael, so you just gonna be waiting until this man pays you any attention? Girl, you desperate. Alright, so next thing you know, we see Zoe and Kelvin. They are having dinner together, and he's like, yo, what was up with that IG live that you did? And he's referring to her yelling to the top of her lungs in her car, going off on Kiki. And she's like, well, Kiki, she's trying to play on my face. She was, saying messed up things about us. And he's like, okay, well, like, what did she say? So she goes on to tell him about how Kiki said that she shouldn't be with Kelvin, as well as how she should be with some woman. And he's like, okay, well, is this like an ex of yours? Like, is there, like, something going on? And she's like, no, it's not. So now I'm a little confused because I'm just like, so who was the person's name that Kiki said? Is that person an ex or someone who you, like, had a crush on? Like, why would Kiki even throw that out there like that? And according to Zoe, she feels like, she tried to be friends with Kiki, but clearly Kiki is more focused on trying to embarrass Zoe at this point. And honestly, when I think of this whole situation, I get it, Kiki. If you want your friend to not make a mistake, you're going to go ahead and tell her. However, you told her on a very, very public platform. It's embarrassing, number one. And number two, like, I agree with Zoe. She does have people around her that's not good for her. Like, they see that she's on Love and Hip Hop, and they are trying to find their way in to be on the show. So basically, Kelvin tells Zoe, listen, girl, you can't be acting up on social media because what if somebody from the label saw you acting up and was like, we don't want to work with her no more. But what you should do is try to squash the beef with Kiki. So she's like, okay, fine, I'll go talk to her. Moving on from that. Alright, so we actually see Amar and Allan meet up with Allan. And basically these two apologize for the things that were said and done while they were in the DR. And Allan says that he wants to step up and be a father, right? So Amar is like, okay, so how often do you plan on coming to see the girls? And he's like, well, that's up to you. So she's like, okay, well, the door is open. Like, you can come whenever. So how often will you be coming through to Miami to come see these girls? And I feel like, listen, if that man can make it at least once or twice a month, that's cool. Because at the end of the day, he do live in a different country. Now, they say they're going to try to work this out. Good for them. Moving on from Amara, let's slide on over to Joy. Because first things first, Joy, why don't you have anything going on? Just why? Because the fact that you popped up on our screen to talk about the beef between Trina and Hot Topic is ridiculous. What do you have going on for yourself? Like, I get it. You are Trina's puppet. Like, you are Trina's lapdog for real. But what do you have going on? Like, how in the world did we start the top of this little segment with you talking about Trina? We should have jumped right into you and So Unique meeting up. But that's not what we got. Nonetheless, like I said, she is meeting up with Trick Daddy's new little plaything. When I tell y'all we did not need this scene, we did not need it. Because So Unique is like, I'm just trying to come to you woman to woman and ask you, like, what made Trick fall in love with you, because he told me to do my research or whatever. And I'm just like, so you go to the technically current ex sort of kind of wife? Girl, Google the man. Listen to him in some interviews. Don't go talk to Joy. And like Joy said, who Trick is today is not the person that I fell in love with. This is a total different man. So I can't even help you in that category, baby. So as this conversation continued, I'm just like, what are we doing here? Like, this lady don't care about Trick. Like, Joy does not care about what Trick got going on, okay? So she is not about to give you no, solid advice. Also, on top of that, they're still married, okay? And the way that Trick Daddy got so upset, y'all remember when Joy had some guy that she had liked on the show, and Trick kept popping up and acting up? Baby, it's giving Joy wants nothing to do with Trick at this point. Okay, and I honestly don't blame her. But this whole scene, unnecessary. Now, moving on, we actually see Angela in the studio or whatever, and she's doing this song called Fabulous. And here's the problem. Angela no longer wants to say the B word. She refuses to say bitch. And honestly, I was kind of annoyed with Derek because he didn't like the way she said chick in the song. Because it was like, instead of saying the B word, I'll just say chick. Like, I can be a boss chick instead of a boss, B word. And he's like, yeah, I'm not feeling that. Now, you have this girl, Lay Banks, who's in the studio with them. And I think she's an artist as well. And here's the thing. It was kind of like a 2-against-1 thing when it came to the B word. And I'm just like, listen, if this girl is on this journey, she's trying to transition her life. Both of y'all have seen this. She's no longer going by Black China. Like, let the girl make the changes that she wants to make. Also, at the same time, like, she keeps saying she does not want to put out what the typical current music sounds like, basically. Like, she's not trying to be Megan Thee Stallion. She ain't trying to be Glorilla. And that's okay. And honestly, I'm kind of annoyed that Derek was mentioning how he's worked with Beyonce, he's worked with Nicki, and blah, 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 blah. But if we want to be completely honest, like, Beyonce, she, like, I don't want to say she just started cursing on her albums, but she definitely has gone through a process to get to the point where she started cursing on records. And why did Beyonce start cursing on records? Because that became the norm. Whether it's R&B, whether it's hip-hop, whatever, pop, everybody's cursing on records now, okay? However, if Angela wants to go against the grain and she wants to do something else, she doesn't want to, use certain words, I think that should be something that this man understands. Like, dude, you're a songwriter. It's your job to make it sound fire. Like, it got to the point where she just gave in. It was like, okay, fine, we'll keep the B word, like, we'll keep that in. And they replayed the song or whatever, and it was cute, but it wasn't as great as he was trying to hype it up to be to begin with. But I did feel bad for her. I really did feel bad for Angela, because she is trying so hard to make these strides in her life because she has turned over a new leaf. And slowly but surely, it's like things like this will suck her in to the past of who she was. And I don't think that the people around her realize that. Like, with him partying and him drinking, her, viewing herself in a certain way, and now you try to drag her back to her old image. Yeah, I'm starting to give Derek a little side eye, y'all. Now, moving on from that, we actually see Trick Daddy and So Unique in a strip club or whatever, and they're kind of chit-chatting a little bit, but this is where things got interesting. She told him that she met up with Joy. Baby, why she say that? Because we all know that he can't stand Joy. And he low-key ate when he said that line about why you digging in the trash, trying to look at my old paperwork? He kind of ate with that line. So at this point, I'm thinking that we're going to get a scene where she explains what Joy had to say or something. Nope. Trick decides to get up and leave. I'm just like, yo. So if Joy's name is mentioned, it makes you that upset that you get up and leave? That's crazy, Trick. You might want to go get that figured out. Because technically Joy ain't done nothing to you besides ask for a divorce that you refuse to sign. So now we have a scene with Flo, right? She goes to her restaurant, talk to her mama, and her mama like, girl, you should have been here on Saturday because, baby, it was some lady walking up through here. She was looking for Marlon. Next thing you know, they sitting outside and they talking like lovers. I said, ma'am, were they? But nonetheless, Flo is like, well, let me go check the cameras, right? So she go check the cameras, but you can only see the back of Amara. Now, at one point, y'all, we actually see that the mama, she actually had some of that cake. Because remember, Amara told her to go get the plates ready. Y'all, we see on the camera that Flo mama was out here chomping down on that cake. And Flo was like, mama, you was eating the cake? And she was like, well, you know I like cake. So it's finally revealed to Flo that it's Amara, right? So she's really upset because she already beefing with Amara and she feels like Marlon should know better than to, try to interact with her. So it's crazy because out of nowhere, Flo is like, yeah, because I know that Amara practices Santeria. And I'm like, girl, why are you bringing that up? Especially considering you went to go see some witch lady to basically put a spell on you and Marlon. Are you okay? Like, why does that matter when we all know what you did on camera? So next thing you know, Flo decides to spaz out, okay? She doing all this hooping and hollering about how Amara brought this cake and she's a husband stealer. And I'm just like, well, girl, it shouldn't matter because at the end of the day, you said you don't want Marlon. So pipe down. So Flo decides to go pull up to her sister's restaurant, Guel, and go whine and cry to her because Amara is trying to mess with Marlon. And like Guel said, girl, why do you care? Like, what are you spazzing for? But Flo, she feels like because she's Marlon's baby mama, that this shouldn't be happening to her. Not because she the wife, but because she the baby mama. I said, okay, girl. So then she decides to flip it on Guel and be like, well, this is all because of you. She's doing all of this because you messed around with Amara's baby daddy. Why she bring up Allan? Because here goes Guel and her delusion, basically saying that she was going to hook up with Allan, but the only thing that was stopping them was the fact that he's trying to, see his kids, so he got to do right by Amara. So now they are blaming Amara. These two women are blaming Amara as to why Allan don't want to mess around with Guel and why Marlon is over here, I guess, flirting with Amara. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to Marlon and Amara was absolutely playing a game, okay? Because she don't want Marlon, but she knows it's going to piss Flo off, and clearly that's what it did. When it comes to Allan, I do feel like there's still some feelings between Allan and Amara, but Guel, I don't understand how you're trying to get involved in that. Like, please go sit down somewhere. And you can take your sister with you because your sister just told us all how she don't want her baby daddy. She don't want Marlon. So, it don't matter who you mess around with. Now, back to what's going on the screen. Flo is still over here trying to spaz out and it sounds ridiculous. So, for some reason, Guel is over here trying to get a slice of cake and Flo ends up throwing it in the trash. And I'm just like, but Flo, you're a goofy because why did you actually take the cake out the refrigerator to pack it up into your car, drive all the way to your sister's restaurant and bring it in just for you to throw it away? Like, the dramatics, please stop. Like, this whole little scene was giving scripted. Or if it's not scripted, guided, okay? Flo, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Because it was giving fake. Let's go ahead and talk about this last scene. Now, we see Zoe meet up with Kiki. And when I tell you, Zoe you need to get your head on straight because you was all over the place. So basically they talk about the fact that Zoe pulled up to Kiki's mama house and Kiki did not come outside, right? Zoe, she's like, and why are you going to talk to Estelita about me? Like, you keep going around talking about me. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. First things first, Estelita invited her there. She didn't just invite herself to go meet up with Estelita, okay? Your homegirl Estelita was being nosy. Then, for you to be like, you going around talking about me, well, if Estelita would have told you the truth, you would have known that Estelita was doing most of the talking, okay? Estelita was the one who asked this girl questions. Why did she bring that up? Zoe, the reason why you want to go so hard at Kiki is because what Kiki said, it has some truth in it, okay? So next thing you know, Zoe, she jumps up and she's trying to fight Kiki. Keep in mind, y'all, Kiki barely said a word, okay? She ain't really said too much. Security has to get involved and separate the ladies, and Kiki, she's like, don't talk crazy about my mom because Zoe said something slick. And this whole time, Zoe is trying to get at her, right? But of course, security won't let her. And Zoe, she's like, oh, that's okay because I know where you live, blah, 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 blah. It's just like, Zoe, you doing a whole lot. And all this girl did was bring up the fact that maybe you shouldn't marry this man. And honestly, you would not have tripped this hard if it wasn't any truth in it. Like, you could have absolutely handled this differently, but you chose violence out of nowhere. Like, I don't know. The more I see Zoe, I'm just like, I don't think I really like Zoe like that. But I guess. Y'all, that was the episode. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I will talk to y'all in my next review. Bye, guys.